All right, welcome everyone. I am here with our special guest tonight. He needs no introduction as we usually do these top eight reviews, given that our time zones align, and just because Kieran's been, kicking some butt on legacy challenges in general. But here we are again, Kieran. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Good, good. We just briefly before the stream started talked about what we have for dinner, and I know some people are interested in what I have for dinner and what Curran has for dinner. I mentioned Korean chicken or Korean style chicken. My wife and my mother-in-law cooked it, uh, and I think you mentioned you had some frozen pizza, right?
Yeah, Freschetta brand, baby. It's my favorite frozen pizza.
Nice, nice. So I guess before we dive into the actual games, do you want to bring up the list for a second?
Yeah, let's bring that up actually. Oh gosh. I don't know that it's probably not the same as it was. Yeah, that's definitely not it.
It's okay. I'll bring up. Why don't we do this? I have your list right here.
Oh, okay,
So
perfect.
so let's do that. And then you can like go back to the like the game section. I guess
Perfect.
real quick. Any thoughts on the list you ran before we start in particular?
Any thoughts on the list? I thought overall it was pretty solid. I kind of made that last minute decision to trust my gut to main deck opposition agent, and I wish I could tell you right now whether that ended up mattering or not, but I feel overall comfortable. Like something I've discovered recently about myself playing this deck is I feel very comfortable having opposition agent in the main. I was testing yesterday without it main, and I lost an unnecessary match to mono green Cloud Post, which is the deck is just mono search effects. And
Mm-hmm.
had I had the main deck opposition agent, that match would have been clean.
Mm-hmm.
But it just I ended up losing in three to dumb primeval titans and stuff. So uh, but yeah, that's like the one thing about the main deck I would say. And then out of the sideboard, I mean, the sideboard felt tight. Like honestly, like it felt like every card was playing a good role, and just being strong. So
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, it kind of harkens back to like the for those who don't know, I did stream last week really because I streamed earlier in the week, last Sunday, not this past Sunday, but the one before that. So I guess that would be 9 days ago with Yurk because he had top eight the challenge the day before. But I ran extremely hot with this new saga list, and I know like last week was kind of the what's it called? I guess the breakout week for the saga because package, which we tried in the past. It's just that at the time we tried it in an artisan list, initiative was running wild, and we still hadn't really fully solved that problem. So kind of put it on the back burner until last week, and then I ran pretty hot. I must say, like I think I got like 5 trophies or something last week, which is like definitely more than the average, right?
yeah, that was a disgusting week for you, honestly. Like I was hella jealous. I just keep racking 4-1s, man. You have no idea. I am the master of the 4-1.
To be fair, a lot of those 5-0s I had probably should have been 4-1s. I got extremely lucky in multiple of those 5-0 matches. So, for instance, I top deck Pithing Needle, not tutor top decked Pithing Needle. The exact turn I was staring down lethal from Ikmot Nexus. So, things like that in game three, right? So like that saved the 5-0, for instance. So that was more luck than anything else, to be honest. Um, and,
Love it when it all lines up.
exactly. So overall, I went like on my first 6 leagues, I went 27-3, which is like a kind of a crazy run. But um, the hard thing was I didn't really find myself having much room for flex spots. Like I know this sounds sacrilegious, but I was down to one Leyline of the Void, and in legacy leagues, that's like very dangerous place to be, so to speak. But I think we'll talk about going forward in a little bit, but I don't want to like dwell too much on that. because we'll have a better feel after some of these games, perhaps.
Yeah, I think it's definitely better that we talk about the future of the list after the review for sure.
Cool, cool. All right. With that said, I'll minimize this, and you can. Um, so full disclosure, Curran has his best tournament runs when he is inebriated. So he may or may not remember which happened in some of these rounds.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could say that. But anyway, I do let's stop hopping around one here. If I recall correctly, it's Blue Red Delver, and we'll see where we go.
Mhm.
So this seven is not amazing.
I
It's
probably,
fine,
I
but
probably keep it with a six, but I feel like we mull this.
I
Mhm.
did. Yep, I did end up mulling it, and we kept a much more sensible hand, putting back the duplicate, or yep, putting back the duplicate copy of Fiend Artisan.
That's reasonable. I think in the dark, I may put the endurance back, but that's definitely defensible.
I would never ever put this card back in the dark. What if it's just Reanimator?
That's
What
fair.
if you just blow them right out? I would never ever do that.
That's reasonable, and especially since Delver Reanimator is at least by MTG Goldfish is still the most popular deck on at the moment. Part of that is because some of the Delver players are taking a break while the lists are figured out, so to speak, right?
Right. Um, so I believe, if I recall correctly, because I see Dragon's Rage Chandler across the table with like the tap Volcanic Island, I don't feel like playing into Daze because it would give them the extra value of the Surveil. So I think I just jammed Shepherd here.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. And then they ended up upkeep bolting, uh, putting DRC in graveyard, only
Hmm.
swinging for one though. No follow up sorcery, it would appear.
I think if it.
So,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say. I think if it were me, if they daze, I think I'm okay with it, even though they get value, only because that's almost like we ramped. But I guess we'll see how it plays out, right? Like you definitely get rewarded because Hierarch is the better card, right? If you can bait out the removal spell, or
Yeah, I think Hierarch ends up being a little bit better in the long run if it can stick around too.
all right.
Like
So,
to be sacrificed. Anyway, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, I'm assuming you probably played the Hierarch here. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and just leave up fetch for Dryad Arbor end of turn. They did have another bolt though. That was kind of scary. So I think here, yeah, they attack for one, and they play a Wasteland. So I don't fetch Harbor end of turn, and I just go to my draw in my main, crack one of the fetch lands, and we're just playing around days still. Just being careful about it.
Okay. Well, sorry. One second. I need to help my wife real quick with
No
something.
worries.
Just give me 1 second.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for the patience. I apologize.
Oh no worries, you're good. So I'd like to point out at this point in the game, by the way, I feel incredibly safe because of the creatures that I have in hand. Like even if they somehow have a third lightning bolt here, I don't feel like we're like anywhere in danger at this point.
And actually, this situation is pretty nice. Where if you have a Fiend Artisan on 3 and Endurance in hand, Uh,
Oh yeah.
on some board states, it's correct to evoke, and it's a total blowout.
So I was surprised to see the third bolt. Oh god, I did it. Yeah, yep, I did it. I evoke in response, hit the yard, and then Fiend Artisan gets to live another day.
I think on this sports day I may not have because the card you pitched was a Fiend Artisan, but
Yeah, I
it's
guess.
definitely the fun play for sure.
Yeah. I think here though I just end up grabbing another Fiend Artisan to
Oh,
make
I
kind of
love
an
it.
insurmountable board state.
Oh, I love it. It's Tomergorth Tribal, right?
Yeah, like come get it.
We're the deck playing 2 mana efficient threats. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, and this is beautiful here, right? Because they've just built an enormous graveyard. I get to like ransack for 10,
Hmm.
make them think that they still have like a chance here, and then I
Hmm.
just bog them.
Interesting. You didn't want to use the green sun?
Oh, I do end up using the green sun after,
Okay.
just to grab a reclaimer.
Yeah, I think I would probably sequence it differently, just so you can uh,
Oh
get
yeah, I get this daze and this unholy hate.
exactly.
Yeah. That was a slight error on my end. I could have definitely played that cleaner.
I mean, in your
Uh,
defense, you were also working off no sleep.
yeah. Uh, yeah, this guy is a madman. Oh my god, I love that. All right. Anyway, so yeah, he this ends up scooping. So we go to the next game.
That was pretty cut and dry. Like, to be honest, I didn't really.
Yeah,
I
it
think the
worked out pretty well.
I think the only decision points that were a little bit different, where I would have done something differently, I think I would have led with the noble on one, but it ended up not mattering because they had two bolts anyways.
Yeah,
Uh,
both creatures are gonna get cleaned up either way.
and I think the only other portion was I may not have evoked, but I think it's definitely reasonable to because it's just so problematic if you untap with artisan. So that's pretty fair.
All right, here's game two. Let's take a look at our opener. Oh, it's nuts.
I love it. I remember when it used to annoy me when Delver players submerged my turn one play,
Oh
and
yeah.
and 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 I was like, wait a minute, we could have been playing our own submerge this whole time. You know what I mean? It's still not pretty
Yeah,
much submerge, right? Like
it,
sort of.
except better.
Right. You can play it against any deck.
So good. So yeah, we led with Hierarch here just to like make up for board state because we didn't care if they dazed there because they had no turn one play whatsoever. So
Fair. I also think it's pretty heads up for you to fetch basic there, given that they don't have no creature. Because some of these players, what they like to do is if you go ahead and buy you on one, they may waste you so you can't snuff out anymore, for instance. But or you can't develop your mana, for instance.
yeah, you gotta be pretty careful with your Bayou placement, especially now that we're down to two instead of like the three we were running there. When I was running three, I ran them out there. I didn't care,
Yeah,
but
you.
like when it's two, it's like this is a very limited resource. But seeing as it's turn two, we do have to run this one out. So we end up just kind of creating an uncounterable shepherd here. Or I mean reclaimer here.
Yeah,
Shepherd's always uncounterable.
yeah. We don't want to give them what's it called, like we don't want to turn on their dazes here when we don't have to. So solid.
Reclaimer eats a bullet, and we're just kind of like ticking up the creatures in the graveyard until Fiend Artisan gets out of reach, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the plan at this point. Another land was a really nice draw here to cushion things up a little bit. And we just get the free damage.
I think if it were me there, I might have played that a little bit differently.
All right, how would you have played that?
I think if it were me, I would have attacked first, fetch the Bayou, play the Artisan to play around, bolt into Daze, and then run the Reclaimer into Daze. Because they've already
Hmm.
run two bolts out. I think if we untap with either Reclaimer or Artisan, I think we're probably going to win.
Yeah, I guess I was a little bit like after seeing three bolts in game one, I may have been a little gun shy in
That's
this
fair.
game.
And you did see Unholy Heat in game one, too, so there's
Dang
that.
it. This is me being conservative. You told me not to do that. See, but like Artisan would have died there. I don't know. I kind of like having Artisan as a 4/4 now.
No, I think that's totally reasonable. I think um, there's no reason to rush. So I think your line is like pretty defensible too, for what it's worth. And I think could be
For
even
sure.
right. Hey, Geodude, Jared. Yeah, definitely Artisan. You wanted it to be a 4/4, um, for sure.
And then they're like, okay, I got Murktide. And you're like, great. You have no idea what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, we don't care.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah, so they did hit me with a submerge on this fetch land, which felt kind of bad, but it's like, okay, well at least we still have like the answer. And we draw an endurance, which is super sweet.
right.
And
Main
I'm like,
phase,
well, Bolt is down, so might as well just get this in here.
right. I love the main phase endurance. I think it's very underrated.
Oh yeah, they hit me with charter course here. That was funny. I was like, oh man, they're really going for it.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
We're
yeah.
just drawing bombs.
Just embarrassment of riches over here.
That one I'm a little bit surprised about the attack there. Only
You think
because,
so?
only because, I guess you have the snuff out. I guess I would be a little bit cautious there, only because I think we're pretty ahead. But the snuff out makes it pretty defensible too, for what's worth.
They petty thefted this token.
That's doesn't seem great, right?
And then they just like conceded after that. They're like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Like,
I mean, you were pretty. You're like miles ahead, for what's worth.
yeah, it was gonna be stupid hard for them to catch back up. So that was a very nice, clean little round versus Delver. Oh yeah, we got to play against Bara, which is a name I haven't seen in
Wow,
quite a long time.
this is a flashback to the past, right? We're talking about. Was Bara on DNT or was he a Bara on something else?
I'm pretty sure it was D&T.
Okay, so this is a throwback to like 2018 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's been a while. But oh god, I wanted to go back and look at that hand. Hold on. I'm pretty sure it was hot trash, but it's always good to double check and make sure.
Yeah, I would know that.
Yeah, the problem, yeah, I don't like second cradle. I don't like Atraxa. It
And
feels
snuff out's
like,
like 50-50 depending on the matchup already.
yeah. Now, unfortunately, this was a Boros initiative matchup, so this hand actually would have been probably pretty sick, all things considered. But we had to look down to the six.
Yeah, in the dark, for what it's worth, I think I would have made the same play. I don't think Atrax is already Moto 6, and the second Cradle is like half a mole, and the Snuff Out is like almost like half a mole, depending on it's like 50-50 whether it's the right matchup, right?
Right, right.
So
So, yeah. What do you think about the six, though?
I would have moled.
I did. Okay.
Okay. As a general rule of thumb, not always the case, but usually if I don't have a turn one play, it's probably not.
Probably going back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably not keeping.
So this is the five, which I think I ended up like making my peace with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sent it back in natural order and an Allosaurus Shepherd. What do you think about that?
I would have made the exact same bottom. And the logic is you're not casting natural order for a while, and Shipper is like the worst of those early plays.
Yep, exactly. So throw down a little ramp and send it back into Lotus Petal Cavern on Human. And I believe this is it's one of the cool 3 drops. Yeah, anointed Peacekeeper. They name Elvish Reclaimer with it.
Seems reasonable, giving it in the hand.
I draw this once upon a time, and I'm like, ah, nuts. Once upon a time, what are you doing here? And I think I sent it back just to instant speed the once upon a time. I'm kind of trying to save the Zenith for something juicy.
That's fair. You're, I mean, you're low resource already.
So we just take this 3 damage beat, and I think. Oh, there is a play. Right, they exiled a Simian Spirit Guide to cast an Elite Spellbinder, to which I respond with the Once Upon a Time. Looking at these 5, I think I take a land here,
Yeah,
like the Bayou.
I think I'd probably take the Bayou here.
Oh, I took the Misty. That was probably. Oh, that was fine because I was thinking Anointed Peacekeeper when I saw the Spellbinder just now.
Mm-hmm.
No, no. Misty is fine. Misty is fine too. So they take the Zenith. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the only reason I would take the Bayou there is because I know what's on the bottom. I don't think I want to draw any of those cards. That's the only logic.
Oh, that's fair. That's a fair thing.
But it's perfectly reasonable. I
So I
think
think here I just cast Reclaimer. And it's kind of like scary here because, the clock's pretty big. I
mhm.
grabbed an Arbor. Oh, I blocked with it. Oh, I must have been trying to set up a quick 3/4 here to start to
Oh,
contest.
okay,
That's
interesting.
an interesting play. Okay. I like that. I think that's kind of psychotic, but I like it.
I'm not sure I would have made that play, but it's definitely got some you know what to it.
Yeah, definitely. So we draw this natural order. I don't. I think maybe I end up getting Atraxa just to redraw,
Oh, for sure. I think that's correct. Oh,
or
interesting.
we're just putting it all on the line. Okay, hit you for 14, I guess. What are you gonna do about it?
I think if
We
it were
straight up
me,
took it to a race.
I think if it were me, I probably would have pitched the Arbor because the Exalted can matter for the. Actually, we're probably not going to attack with the Reclaimer, but I think I would have just got attracted to redraw. If they want to Caracas it, I think I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah, and then I top deck Cradle so I can cast the Zenith
For Gris,
for
presumably.
Grist. Yeah, and they can see.
Wow! Sometimes it is better to be lucky than good.
uh, yeah, I guess so. Jeez, man, I really can't believe that I was just like, all right, it's racing time. Let's go. My creatures outrank you,
That's
like
pretty
straight.
hilarious. Although in your defense, you did say yeah, no sleep. It was like what 5 a.m. in the morning, so
Yeah, it was rough, man.
that's
All
pretty
right.
hilarious.
Okay, okay. Let's go on to game 2 here. I think I ended up keeping a pretty sick hand. That wouldn't be it, obviously,
Uh-huh.
for obvious reasons.
That's a
Ah, there
sick
we
hand.
go.
That is
There
a
we go.
sick hand.
I just threw back one of the hierarchs because it was repetitive,
Yeah,
and wanted to
I
keep my
feel you on
options
that.
open.
Also, you have a green sun. That's like a backup dork, anyways.
Exactly. It's like we don't need three of these. Yeah, so they hit me with the spellbinder. And take my ignoble. So I think I just fire off a Zenith. Yep.
Yep.
Backup donk, just as we discussed.
I love how I love it when the plays match our expectation, right?
Yeah, it's good when that happens for sure. And it's funny when it doesn't.
Right. The as we saw in the previous game with the we're gonna aggro up here.
Yeah. All right, so Spellbinder comes in for 3. They've got Caves of Chaos Adventure. We draw another Cradle, which is not fantastic, but it's time to set up Fiend Artisan regardless, and we'll just ship it back there.
The one good or bad thing I guess about Fiend Artisan is because it's a kill on sight. If your opponent allows you to untap, I think only one of two things could be true. They either don't have removal, or actually, it's just gotta be they don't have removal, right? Like that just makes no sense for them to
Yeah,
untap.
no, like Fiend Artisan is murder on site, and most players are now familiar with that concept. Also, yeah, so we have a Scry 2 here, both on bottom, thankfully. A lot of mana and one card left in hand. So the caves flip is probably going to be relevant here. Like it's
Mhm.
going to be, and it is. It's a touch to Spirit Realm.
Of course,
So guess where
they
that's going?
they did dig three deep for what it's worth.
Yeah. So of course they recognize to kill the Fiend Artisan,
Right.
and it's okay because there's another one. It's like nothing ever happened. Oh
Exactly.
yeah, we spend the mana to get our ignoble out, and we're like, okay, if we untap, we win. Cool.
Nice.
Uh, and so it goes back to them. They have to move into the stash room to pick up a treasure. They look at it, they combat, and they find a seasoned dungeoneer. But it's not going to matter because it's only going to move them into the skeleton room,
Hmm.
and they're still dead.
Right.
Oh, we didn't even need to artisan for it. There it is, right off the top.
Yeah.
Just sure, why not? Why not?
Easy mode.
So
I think we might have even had lethal through. Actually, maybe not. Actually, I think we still had lethal through artisan activation. So, because we still
yeah,
have.
we did probably, I think. Because we could sack a land off to make this a 3-4.
Right. And we still have four attackers.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I think we would have had lethal through the 6 toughness, but
Hmm.
obviously they just wanted me to have the win more, so why not?
All right, that was
Uh
nicely done.
yep, nice and clean. Let's move into round 3. Oh, this hand makes me so sad. Like, look at it. It's so close to perfect, really.
I know, right? We have a land instead of that bog, and it's pretty good. Thank you, Justin, for the raid. Shout out to Justin here for being the de facto artisan expert in vintage here.
Yo, Justin, thank you for the raid. So we're in reviews right now for everyone who just got here. This is round 3 of the challenge that I top 8'd on Saturday. And we are looking at a 6-card hand currently, which I believe I end up keeping just bottoming a natural order here, which doesn't seem unreasonable, does it?
No, I think I would probably just make the same play. I just bought him natural order, right? Because we're on six.
Yep, easy peasy. And we send it over to another blue red Delver player.
So far, we've beaten, or you've beaten a Delver player, an initiative player. This is round three, I think.
Yeah, round 3, and we draw Snuff out, which is good fun. But we're not quite ready to get the Bayou yet because again, we're on limited resources as far as our lands go.
Oh,
Um, and,
oh, go ahead.
and I just am not ready to lose to like Bullet Wasteland.
See, I think I would be a little bit more aggressive, but that's just me. I think given that I drew the snuff out, I probably play the Bayou or fetch Bayou, but I'm a little bit more willing to lose the Wasteland, I guess. In this
Understandable.
in this specific example.
All right. Well, we go the safer here, the conservative route, and opponent goes to brainstorm, takes a look at a few things, gets the nice crack off the fetch, and probably into a bolt here. Yep. So we end up drawing another donk, and I think I just run it out there. Oh no, I just run this out there. Apparently, I
Yeah.
guess it's just a setup for future spells.
Mhm. I think if it were me there, I'd probably run the hierarch out and then run the arbor for sequencing because arbor typically wants to be last. And number two, if they bolt your arbor here, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, that's fair. Luckily they just did a couple cantrips and sent it back, so
Wow.
we went undisturbed. And we're like, okay, well, I guess we'll just take this opportunity to throw a couple hierarchs down and swing for three. Who's the Delver player now?
I love it. This is great because it kind of highlights why hierarchs are significantly better than dorks. I used to be of the a belief that you want the landlord elves to for the shepherd activation, but how many times are you gonna lose when you're actually activating shepherd activation?
Yeah. So I kind of just skipped through it there, but our opponent spent that turn doing actual nothing. I'm not really sure what's in their hand at this point.
I think they're
Probably
trying
counter
to
magic.
daze. I would imagine they're trying to daze. Sorry, to borrow your shepherd and then daze you or something like that. Is my guess.
Yeah, so I guess we just go to set it up here because we grabbed this cradle off this Once Upon a Time,
Mm-hmm.
and we're like, all right, throw this guy out here. Uh, oh yeah, that's right. So I pass here because I'm just like, what if I just hold up activation, like in the face of removal?
Mm-hmm.
So we have lethal on board or whatever, and then they end up brainstorming. Uh, Ponder, pass. A lot of snuff outs too. Kind of wild. So I deliberate on my mana, and then I'm like, wait, no, I'll just swing first. Then I'll activate, or no, I won't activate. I guess we're playing with our food. I don't know what to tell you. We're absolutely just playing with our food at this point.
So for those who are tuning in from Justin's stream, full disclosure, Curran was doing this on no sleep at 5 a.m. in the morning. So that could explain some of his questionable plays here on this turn.
Yeah, so they wasteland forced me off cradle. I activated Shepherd in response, and they bolted Shepherd in response. This is kind of what I was like waiting for, I guess. And they play a Darcy. We draw a Grist. We throw it out for Force of Will bait. There it is. Pitching third path Iconoclast. Send in the Reclaimer because it's a 3/4 with exalted triggers.
So the funny thing is, if you had just attacked with the what is it called, with the shepherd the previous turn, it would have been more damage than just the shepherd and the reclaimer.
Yeah, that's true. They find Murktide here, but I'm feeling pretty safe because we've got multiple snuff outs in hand.
Granted, right now we have the hard cast, but yeah.
Replay is moving. Okay, it's gonna move kind of fast here. I hardcast a snuff out that got dazed. I pass back. I take 8. I draw. I find a swamp. I snuff out, and I go for the natural order on the crater hoof, which is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I kind of went fast there, like lagged out or something. So again, like Yeah, I started with the hard cast snuff out, which got dazed, and then I drew the land on the next turn, and I tried to bait Force of Will by killing Murktide with snuff out. There was no force. I natural order. I guess I had this guy in play too. I don't know where he came from. Whatever. I got the win.
We'll take it, right? This is pretty much a free roll because you're generally would be sleeping at this time, anyways.
Yeah, round three probably, or I mean, game two. Yeah, it's probably like 6:30 in the morning at this point.
Hmm.
Um, but we keep this sick hand, obviously,
Hmm.
and start out by fetching into a forest. And once upon a time, I think I take the reclaimer here. What do you think? Would you take the engineer here?
I would take the reclaimer here as well.
Okay.
Engineer's kind of high variance.
Oh, I lied. I took the engineer apparently. Never
Hmm.
mind. Okay. Noble Heart got minor misstepped. So we send it back.
I think the other thing I would have done was, given that we have three lands and a snuff out in hand, I guess you're rewarded here, or sort of, right? Like, because they have the wasteland. But I think I may have been tempted to just run out the bayou.
Yeah, I guess I got rewarded for my sneakiness again. So we play Noble Hierarch around days and just pass it back since nothing's going on.
I think for me in this kind of like tempo matchup, I really want to emphasize the mana development. And I would have probably sequenced Green Sun first into Hierarch for two reasons. One, uh, if they do daze the second spell, you rather they daze the Hierarch and have the Green Sun still in your deck. Also, Noble Heart being the graveyard means that your Fiend Artisan grows.
Yeah, that's a good point. I should really consider these things. Yeah, but I guess from here we end up using the Zenith to get a reclaimer. No, we end up using the Zenith for force bait,
Mhm.
which is good. I think that's a good spot for us.
Yeah, it's always dangerous to. It's always dangerous to. What's the word I'm looking for? To run out a spell, a three mana spell in today's. I mean, I do it when I have to, but like, it doesn't feel great.
So they're like, "Oh no, it's an endurance," and I'm like, "Yes, it is. Get your graveyard out of here." They waste me, which makes total sense. Now we're like extra gun shy about the extra swamp. They throw down another wasteland, pass it back. It's okay. We got reclaimer now. Pretty sick. They petty theft reclaimer back. Okay, that's fine.
I think the way this game is playing out a little bit, which is pretty common, is why I would make the double ramp play the previous turn is because I don't want I kind of want to turn off their dazes if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I definitely should have done that. I don't know why I was holding the Zenith, really. I guess I was like waiting for it to be a higher end threat.
I think it does highlight one of the differences between control and tempo matchups too. In the control matchups, I definitely want to hold the Zenith because they usually let your mana go. Not it's not necessarily always right, but that's what they do, I guess.
Fiend Artisan comes down, they submerge the Endurance. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just leave that on top for later.
Right,
Uh, I'm not going to fetch that away. There's no reason to. If you want to waste my
right.
fetch land, feel free. But they waste a Dryad Arbor. I'm like, okay, Fiend Artisan's a 5/5 now. What is the next plan?
I know it's almost like they're helping us, right? For those of you
So
who play Delver mirrors a lot, you'll know that Goyf is pretty much broken in the mirror. Imagine being able to play like random Goyfs that's a Night of Reliquary as well, or Birthing Pod, whatever you want to call it, right?
Anyway, they conceded here. So that was basically it. We got to hold a bunch of extra stuff just in case things started to go awry. It's nice to win games in this kind of position. So
Yeah, for sure. We have the beater that they pretty much can't take off the field, right?
exactly. Yes. I don't need to have my memory jogged. I just recognize it right off the name. Our good friend Killaby on Riddlesmith. Uh, I love Killaby. He's a fun guy to talk to. Like obviously we have a very good um what's the word, a rapport, because I just wrote him, don't do it to me, and he goes, also hello to you. Like, so um considering that I know what he's on, I don't mind having this snuff out, so I think I end up keeping this hand.
That's reasonable. Yeah, I think in the dark I would probably still keep it, but I think the snuff out is good. Obviously, some of the other cards are not, but it's defensible for sure.
Yeah. um so we end up keeping this. Killaby goes down to 5. I'm a little nervous because this could be like a LED echo pile. They do have the Riddlesmith. They have the Lion's Eye Diamond, discarding a Riddlesmith. Mox Opal Trigger, discard Ancient Tomb, and they end up passing here with 0 cards in hand.
Wow.
So it's kind of like, okay, whew, we got through that scary turn 1. Let's go ahead, grab a Bayou, Reclaimer, and just kill this guy on sight.
Yeah. You don't want them
Uh,
binning a. I don't know.
yeah, like,
You don't want to bin them an echo, for instance.
right. And luckily, the Opal can't activate here because there's no Metal Craft, so no worries about any Saga tokens. We draw into an Ignoble Hierarch, and I think what I do here is deploy that and play Cradle and Pass, just kind of holding up
Mm-hmm.
options as far as like maybe I can get them with a bog, or maybe I can get like my own Saga. I don't know. Because I do have the Haywire Might main, so it could be relevant here. They grab a spell bomb and simply draw a card with it.
Mm-hmm.
Play another LED and Grape Shot to clean up my board. Or no, just to clean up my Reclaimer.
Okay.
I think I respond by activating, throwing away the Bayou, and I do end up grabbing a Saga. Draw another Cradle, not the greatest. Deploy Arbor, attack for 1, get ready to make a construct pass turn.
Mm-hmm.
You get a Bobble, find a containment construct, and then send it back to me. So I grab, or I do the token thing, make another token, grab Haywire Might, and I play Fiend Artisan and the Endurance, just kind of getting ready to win.
Mm-hmm.
Attack for 3 first, make it 4 because of the Exalted trigger, and then get rid of the Mox Opal.
Oh,
Uh,
I think you gotta get the construct.
you can't.
Oh,
It's
non-creature.
a
Not, you're right. You're right. You're right.
non-creature. I would have absolutely dumpstered that construct had I had the opportunity. But I think grabbing the mana source isn't too bad. And they ended up breaking anyway, so we just get the W here
Oh, okay,
by
nice.
grabbing Critterhoof.
That's pretty good. I think if there was any, did you ever feel like you wanted to speed up the haywire a turn, or was that never a consideration? Because you can always draw step reclaimer for saga that speeds it up a turn, but I think on that board state I don't think it mattered.
I did Reclaimer for Saga in that scenario, though, didn't I?
No, on draw step.
Why?
Actually, you didn't have the mana yet. I take that back.
Isn't reclaimering at end of turn the same tempo as reclaimering and draw step because it goes to phase two on your main phase either way?
No. Because if you draw step, it triggers then and then triggers a second time. If you do it on end step, um, you've only by the time you get back, it essentially speeds it up one turn.
How? How?
So
I
so okay
literally am missing
so
this.
for instance, it you didn't have the option here anyways because at the time you only had one land anyways. But if you reclaimer or crop on draw step, so it'll trigger once and then main phase trigger a second time. Uh, and then when it comes back to your main phase again, it'll trigger the third time. In the other scenario, when you draw step, end step, that's one time, and then when it gets to your turn, it's only two times.
Why does it trigger again in main phase two?
Because it triggers at the beginning of every main phase, first main phase.
I am literally so lost still. Hold on. So at the end of turn,
Uh huh.
if I cycle it out,
Okay,
it
so
comes in. Yeah, go ahead.
oh, okay. This is actually nice because I have the image here. So let's just say it's turn two, right, or turn three. That's probably better because Reclaimer untaps. You have two mana, right? If you draw your card for the turn, and if you need it out a turn earlier, you can you can draw step Reclaimer. It comes in triggers on ETB. Main phase triggers a second time, and then by the time you get back to your turn again, it's gonna hit chapter three, and you can get your pithing needle or whatever. Now, if you do it the other way, let's just say you draw instead of doing on draw step, you just wait till your turn, and then on your opposing end step, which is here, then you activate. It comes in, and then on your next main phase, it's only on chapter two.
Oh, you're saying in the scenario of like having the mana available in the draw step
Right. Which you
versus
did anyways in that
right.
particular case.
Okay, I understand what. Yeah, okay, I follow you now. Yeah, like if you were going to reserve the mana for the end of turn, why wouldn't you just spend it in draw step and speed it up? Yeah, no,
Right,
okay,
but
that
you
makes
didn't have the
sense.
mana, so it wasn't even available.
All right, all right, all right. Cool, cool, cool. Now I understand. All right. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
This is quite the
Good
hand.
good lesson. Good lesson. Yeah, and I think this hand ends up being pretty keepable. The biggest thing is that we don't want to lose to turn one just echo LED, so
Can you
uh,
show me what you boarded in? This matchup. Or can you
I
see your
it
sideboard real quick?
so I boarded out the grists, the endurance, and the bog.
I think I would keep the bog for what it's worth. I don't remember if there's a good needle target. I feel like there's not. But I think I would probably keep the bog for whatever that's worth.
Okay. I boarded in the extra snuff out, the plague engineer,
Mm-hmm.
the mm, and the two ley lines. Yeah, two ley lines, snuff out, and the plague engineer is what I ended up boarding in.
Yeah, I think endurance, like pitching a card, is not great. Thoughtseize, I don't really like against creature decks either. I don't remember what targets they have for needle, but it doesn't seem right. I do think the bog is probably better than like a shepherd.
Probably, yeah. So they start Saga, LED, Opal, Pass, which is not a good sign for us because it means they're just going heavy Saga plan. And that's kind of hard to contend with in some ways. They also chain of vapor back the LED, which is not a good sign because they end up echoing.
Ooh.
We draw into this stuff. They play out a bunch of artifacts and pass. So, man, we have a plethora of plays here. You know what, Newton? Let's go ahead and start with what you would do. How would you play out this turn?
All right. First thing, I guess shout out to Mike for the 16 months subscription now. I guess if anything, I know I'm not playing a league. The next time I stream, I will be opening chest for Mike. I guess with the plays,
Let's go, Mike.
I
Sorry, go
guess.
ahead.
Oh no, no worries. I think here we definitely want to stick the oof. So that's gonna be off the cradle, and I think if it were me, I'd probably just go Haywire, Allosaurus, Collector Oof, and I think we have a spare mana up, so probably just a green sun for 0 as well. Actually, we
Is
probably want to hit the. I take that back. We probably want to hit the saga.
Yeah, I was about to ask you if there was any consideration for like grabbing that while it's down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if I recall correctly, Drunk Me had the same idea. So we end up playing Haywire Might, get the Oofy down, and then have the additional. Oh, ha! Yeah! I'm so good at this game. So anyway, we quickly green sun for 0 right afterwards.
Oh jeez. So I think the other thing is obviously the sequencing here. There is some. I actually think given the board state, it's probably even correct to go haywire into dork into oof, and then you have the mana to to hit the saga. I
Yeah.
think Shepard doesn't really matter to be honest in this matchup. I think you just want the acceleration.
God, that was a very fun moment. All right. So yeah, I guess we can't play perfectly all the time, especially when
This is actually better, Curran. You know why? You're actually showing the audience. You can kind of click buttons at random at 6 a.m. in the morning, and this deck will carry you, right?
yeah, the top decks will just alone will just make your life so much better. So we end up playing out just all the creatures cuz we're like, okay, we'll just win this game next turn the old-fashioned way. Whatever. They can't get us.
They
Right? Nothing bad could possibly happen.
do have 5 cards. 6 now.
Plague Engineer just goes in as a blocker. We go to 8. No problem. We're going to be fine. Oh, that's a Slaughter Pact. Goodbye,
Uh,
Collector Fee.
that's not a good
Oh,
sign.
oh no. Oh no. All right. Maybe if I get rid of this LED, it won't matter.
Oh
Maybe it won't matter. It's
no.
fine. Yeah.
Spoiler, it
So,
matters.
yeah. We fetch out here. We're like, okay, maybe we'll find some 0 mana interaction. Not at all. R7 on the drawback was not interactive whatsoever.
Mhm.
They got the Oval Chase Daredevil with the Riddlesmith too. That
Mhm.
means they're drawing a lot of cards, and
Yeah, it's probably over from here.
yeah, it doesn't take very long before they end up just building up enough storm to just go ahead and grape shot me for the remaining damage.
Mhm. For what it's worth, I would not have blocked with the engineer. It wasn't lethal, and you had lethal with artisan the following turn. I think the fact that you're shutting off their containment construct is pretty relevant. So I don't think there's I would have blocked there, but I think we were dead anyways
Yeah, the
because of the
Slaughter
slaughter
Pack
pack.
just
Yeah.
got us. Like it just put us right out of the game. So we go to game 3 versus the Riddler, the Mastermind, Killer B.
Wait, can you go back?
Yeah, I can because I also saw the thing.
Yeah, I feel like we keep this right.
Uh, yeah, we probably should have. I think maybe I was scared of something, like getting just like You know what it must have been? I think I had like a PTSD flashback to the time I kept like a turn two Oofy in this kind of matchup, and I like, did my turn one play, and then they just turn one me anyway, and I was like, I really want my Thoughtseize or something, or like a ley line. Uh, so I probably drunk talked myself out of that one.
All good. All been there. Thank you for the follow, cheese.
And this one felt like, hey, it's okay. We got the stuff out for the guy, so it's probably fine. And we have the turn two Oofy anyway. It'll
I
be okay
I actually think this hand is better than the other hand, but I would have kept the other hand for what it's worth, if that makes sense.
for sure. We do get to punish this Smith though, which is nice. They discard an Echo. They don't have the mana for it though, and I think we get to do pretty cool stuff here.
Nice.
I think we're just doing the lockout again.
It worked out, which is nice. Well, sort of, because
Yeah,
unfortunately I know how this ends.
yeah. Unfortunately, they did have the ancient tomb. I really thought I was going to get their mana, but it did not quite pan out that way. So they make a quick construct.
This is a little bit awkward here, by the way, with the oof shutting off the haywire.
Yeah, this was something I kind of learned and like made me a little bit more cautious of like haywire mites roll in general.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm like, oh, we got the opposition agent, except we're still like facing down lethal and it's not good. Like,
I just love that Killaby brought in Haywire because they foresaw us having the Saga package, which is really funny if you think about
yeah.
it.
So I think I end up just scooping here because there's just no way out.
That makes sense.
Like, I can only block enough and then still face problems.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, you there?
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. MTG just crashed, so one
All good.
sec.
I'm gonna take a quick restroom break as you get MTGO back up. I'm gonna go ahead and put the BRB screen so you can put your password.
Sick.
Okay. The BRB screen is, I don't know if you're checking Twitch, but it's already there.
Perfect.
All right, I'm back. Are you still there, Kern?
Yep, I'm here.
I know earlier I mentioned in honor of Mike's anniversary, 16 months subscription. Uh, I'll open chess next time. Actually, I decided I'll open chess this time after Curran finishes his after we finish the review.
Heck yeah, I'm super down. Excellent. All right. Well, let's get rolling then. We're on to round 5 here, and I believe this is green white depths. But we keep a solid hand, obviously. Good little hand here, and they
Mhm.
start with a green sun for 0. So we go to our turn here. Draw a cradle, super not helpful, but whatever. And fetch up a basic into reclaimer, send it back.
It's so good that we have between six dorks and Green Sun and Reclaimer, we have like 14 really strong turn one plays, which is nice.
Yeah, it feels really good. They have a plow into a Sylvan library, but and now I've put them on depths at this point. So my plan at this juncture is to get the opposition agent down pretty
Mm-hmm.
much as soon as possible, if I can. Neither reliquary comes down. We end up going. Oh,
Oh,
oh!
oh, you got to do
It,
the play.
it's time.
You got to
Yeah.
do the play.
So endurance pitch. While endurance is on the table, cradle taps for 3 mana. Endurance dies off. We get to natural order out the shepherd into Atraxa. Finding the snuff out just as
Woo!
planned. That was kind of the idea, so we're really lucky that worked out.
I love it. You got to do the play.
Yeah, we love the play.
The best part about this is even if they have the crop rotation, it's like we don't care. Like we just dug through Thrawn 2 times. Without Snuff Out, this play is a little suspect. I still think I would do it. Although Snuff Out makes it so much upside, I think.
I think. I mean, I honestly put the attracts out there with the intent of hitting snuff out. Like top 10, that's not a hard request. I
For a
think.
four of or three of, I guess, in the current list.
Yeah. And they end up scooping after looking at their library top. So, it just goes on to the next game.
The problem is even they swords it. Now suddenly their clock is really slow because they can't one shot us. And if they want to crop for Karagas, then they're just down a mana, right?
Right. And then we peel back a 7 that looks pretty nice, so we end up keeping it.
Can I see your
Shepherd.
sideboard?
Oh yeah, let's take a look at the sideboard here. I boarded out 2 shepherd, 1 oofy, and 1 bog in favor of the pithing needle, the
Caracas,
Caracas,
the snuff
and
out.
snuff out number 4, and
I think if it were me here, although it's a little bit awkward with this hand, I think if it were me, I would probably keep the bog over the shepherd. I actually don't think shepherd does anything in this matchup.
mm,
Granted, it would have been
I
awkward
just
with this hand.
I just like the additional 1 drop fodder for like sacking to artisan,
That's
and
fair.
that's the floor that Allosaurus Shepherd sits on.
It's
So
also
it's
a
a
one
one
drop
drop
here, which
creature.
is pretty nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it's a mole, right? Like I think you probably have to mole this otherwise.
Yeah, if it wasn't here, I probably would mull it, which is the funny thing. I'm trying to figure out what the 4th card I brought in was.
Uh,
Caracas, Needle, 4th Snuff Out, and
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Second Grist. Did I board the Second Grist for this list?
Oh yeah. You had it in the sideboard. That makes sense.
Okay. Yep. Okay. That makes sense. All right. Cool. So they start out with a turn 1 Sylvan Library. We draw a land. Just grab a basic forest because there's no reason to really put out the black source at the moment.
I guess the one thing I would have done differently there is since you had the natural force in hand, I probably would have saved the fetches because there is a chance you get wasteland off the first black or later on, so you have the second black just in case.
That's a good point. They do have the turn two Knight of the Reliquary, but it's okay because we got the good card, the one that kills it, and a Fiend Artisan,
It's
and an
insane
attack
to me
one.
how good Snuff Out is. I think that it was the most slept upon card, maybe for like 2 years in Legacy because uh, if you think about it, it's actually really broken, right?
Yeah, it's free Doomblade. Like,
Yeah.
hello. They hit Reclaimer into Thespian stage, and we draw our second Bayou, which was kind of crazy. And then we turn the Shepherd into a Reclaimer, I think, because that just seemed better.
Yeah, that seems solid.
They keep one card this time and play another Wasteland and a Knight of the Reliquary, but I'm chilling because I got this opposition agent and nobody can stop me from playing it.
Heads
So,
up, by the way, to main phase that. I love that.
yeah, they waste me, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Then they bog me. Oh no, they got the power and toughness on my creatures. Now they're coming in for large beats. Uh, I did this wrong. I should have put the opposition agent in front of this reclaimer, but I put the reclaimer in front of it before making this play. I could have even put the fiend artisan in front of it, and it would have been better.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but we were our brain was not firing at the fullest capacity. So
You're showing the power level of the deck.
we did our best. Okay. I play this pithing needle. I'm like, nah, 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 thespian stage. I don't need this like grief in my life. You go to one pass.
I love it.
And they were like, okay, I'll look at these cards and scoop. So that's the end of round five.
Quick shout out to Parker, by the way. He's joking with, well, he's half joking, I guess. He's referring to the Snuff Out enthusiasts, which are the, obviously, I gotta give the credit where credit is due. The first two decks to play Snuff Out were Saga and Ninjas. I'll let them, fight over who was first, but those were the two first decks to play. Where we came along was, I believe we were the first ones to play four main deck Snuff Outs. I think they had four, but maybe not all in the main deck. But
They
shout,
definitely had four among the 75, but
yeah, they
I
probably
think,
had four in the 70s. I don't know if they had four main, but like we did, like the Cradle Lunatics. But definitely. Oh, to answer Sadra's question, the reason why I say 2 years is because Luris was around, right? And Snuffout could not hit Luris, so you wanted it to. Granted, that was a whole different COVID time, but uh, yeah, as far definitely after Death Right was banned, that's probably when it should have seen some play for what it's worth.
yeah, after the death rate banning, absolutely. Um, we move into the final round, and I remember this round being a little grindy. So settle in for a fun final Swiss round. Game one, we keep a very solid hand. Not like a lot to do as far as like a future game plan, but early setup. Um, and we end up looking at these.
I see a
What?
cardinal sin made by you already.
What? Cardinal sin? Hello? What?
All right, for those who don't know, and this is actually why it matters, if you are unsure, always lead with Lair of the Hydra. Or actually, you should have once first and then go with Lair of the Hydra because this can happen, right? Like, it can screw up your sequencing down the road. So here, I think we want to take the Cradle, but it's awkward because the Lair is going to be essentially shut off if we play Cradle on two potentially. Is the reasoning, Curran?
Fair enough. Fair enough. In my horror, in my not very good sequencing, what would you take at this point?
I think definitely not a reclaimer given that we have two. I don't know what HJ Kaiser is on. I probably would take the Cradle. Actually, we have three lands. I take that back. I think we probably take the Endurance. Yeah. All right.
Nice. All right. And I guess I just feel like starting with Reclaimer. I don't
Over the
know.
Hierarch?
Yeah.
Oh dang.
Sure, why
So
not?
somebody is anticipating Reanimator on the other side.
Yeah, I guess maybe Drunk Me had a premonition, but I do layer out in a manner that it's used. Thankfully,
Never didn't have it, right?
yeah, so we're okay. They play a Baleful Strix, and it's like, man, it's gonna be one of these matchups, right? Like, I guess I better just throw something to the freaking bird.
So
'Cause-
I don't think I would have done that for what it's worth. Our creatures are worth.
What?
Nah, I think our creatures are worth more than theirs, and I get the logic. Oh, you want to attack through the Strix later on, but I don't want to give them mana, especially with Cradle in hand.
But like we're gonna layer up and we're gonna do a million damage, right? Like if we get this guy out of the way, if he just sits here, they have control. They have full control of the board, Newton. We gotta
and,
do something.
and if they play another Strix, you're gonna feel really silly.
Yeah, whatever. Let's see if they do it.
Oh, by the way, I guess it doesn't matter. I was gonna say I think you want to main phase the fetch there because you don't want them to respond with removal in response to the fetch.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That actually I have no argument with. However,
Never punished.
we're gonna go ahead and just do this little reanimate line. Nice try, opponent. So anyway, there's reanimate in this Grixis deck for some reason.
Yeah,
Moving on.
never punished, Curran. Never punished.
That ever punished. Why would I ever be punished? I am just incredible. Oh, we chased out the snuff out. That's good
Dang.
stuff. Let's
I
play
think
another.
I think for what it's worth, uh, I think I might have gone for end step Saga on this board state because we don't have many more plays. But we're just gonna start top decking pretty soon.
No, the lair's gone. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right, honestly.
It's okay. In your defense, if I tried to do this on no sleep, I would be far worse. I would. That's why I don't even try.
Forest pitching endurance here. We love it. We're chasing the resources out. Oh boy, more clock. Get him.
Nice. I love it.
Oh yeah, we do send this forward. I think because Drunk Me in the past heard you and is like, okay, we gotta go get Saga next. Like,
Right. You've already suffered the consequences of not doing it the first time.
like this guy's dwindling. We can do something cool here.
Mhm.
Right on time, it looks like too. Oh, and we get a sick draw out of the deal. We do. Oh, I think I end up going for Fiend Artisan here so I can just keep my Saga activation up. Oh, and Fiend Artisan's
Uh,
a 6/6.
I think you could do it
Would
the
you
other
have
way,
gone
right?
for Grist?
You can Saga with the two Hierarchs, and that leaves you with enough mana to Gris.
Oh, that's smart. Oh well.
It's okay. I think.
They scooped here anyway. So
Yeah, it's demoralizing when your opponent doesn't. When your opponent has a Fiend Artist and you don't have removal. It's just like, okay, I'm about to lose.
I'm sorry for triggering your PTSD, Parker. I don't know why you're feeling PTSD. This isn't Shadow. It's fine. It's fine, buddy. You're safe. All right. So we go to game two, and I think I kept Snuff out in because I was like, what if they have Murktide Regent, right? Like, I don't know what their top end is because I have not sure what this list is, right?
Uh huh.
Like, I can't make any conclusions. So let's take a look at how I boarded actually. I did cut the no package because it felt like kind of a tempo-y deck. I did see Days get pitched to Force of Will.
That's fair.
And I was like, yeah, we can kind of rely on that. We left the hoof in just in case we could backdoor like a Zenith or Fiend Artisan activation. I guess we cut Might as well. We brought in Thought Seizes because we were kind of unsure. We cut multiple snuff outs, and I guess we only drew the one. Wow. That we had left in deck. Brought in the Plague Engineer, obviously, for the bird. Uh, what else did we do? Thought Seizes Plague Engineer. That's 5, 6. God, we boarded in 10 cards.
I think endurance.
Oh yeah, the 3 endurances, and then 2 other things. Because 4 Thoughtseize, 3 endurance, 1 plague engineer. I'm just trying to remember the last 2. The grist and yep, something else. Whatever, I guess.
Shildra's Edict makes Grist a little bit less, I win on the spot, but still very good in this matchup.
That's true. Hadn't even considered that option for them. Needles in the board. I left it in the board. I don't think I would have brought it in for any reason.
Yeah, I think here, I think because of the Strix and the fact that they didn't have pressure, I probably would have put them on Grish's control, but I get how you arrived at the fact that they could be on the tempo deck because of the days.
Yeah, that was like my big thing. And then we do get to luckily play a thought season, kind of figure out what's coming. And this is a really awkward hand to look at, right? Because you're like, I could take the Strix, but then they reanimate. And I could take the reanimate, but then they play the Strix. And I could take the Force of Will, but they don't have another blue card. So like, what do I do here? I do have endurances. Like I could like just take the Baleful Strix and like eat the reanimate line.
Yeah, I don't love that. This is pretty awkward. I feel like we take the force.
Disagree. Apparently, we're gonna just get this 3-4 down while we can.
That's fair.
They go for the reanimate line. We just let it happen because well, let's be
I
real.
think
We're not gonna pitch 2 endurances
I
to
think if
that.
you're gonna let it happen, you might as well take the reanimate, right? So they have to spend 2 mana.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't mind them spending the 2 life though either. Hmm. Anyway. We draw a card, play out the Slayer, play the Noble, send it back.
Yeah, see, the layer sequencing is hurting you now. When in doubt, always play it first.
Yeah, you're right. Hardcast Grief buys Endurance out of my hand. And I think here I just hold everything up.
It's pretty nice hand, to be honest. Or board state. You have enough for endurance plus reclaimer activation.
Yeah. So we go for the endurance. It gets resolved. We don't target anybody. Uh, and we fetch out a land and activate Reclaimer to get Cradle.
Small nitpick, Kieran. It didn't hurt you here, but same thing as before, right? You want to fetch before and not give them the opportunity to respond to the fetch. Otherwise, they kill your reclaimer on the stack.
Good point. Good call. Good call.
Better, at least you didn't get punished, which is good, right? And now you know.
Yep.
Ooh.
So we did draw the Plague Engineer. but I don't think I like the fact that they were representing Hardcast Force of Will. So I just kind of like sent it back because I knew the force was there
Right.
from earlier. So there's no point in really just like throwing that out there when it could be one of the more game winning lines. And they end up doing this. Haven't seen this card in a minute.
Yeah, neither
So
have I.
I was like, okay, I guess this is happening. I better like do something cool with this cradle because it's not going to be fun anymore. And then I grabbed the saga, but also they have the wasteland, so it's like, oof, in a tough position here. They reanimate the Strix back, but I'm thinking it's okay. I've got the Plague Engineer. They waste out the saga, and we play Plague Engineer, get it on bird, and pass. They K command, buy back the bird, kill the plague engineer,
Woo.
replay the bird.
That's a lot of value there.
We play Grist, it meets Force of Will. They reanimate Grist. Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. We once upon a time can't really find anything. And then just kind of slowly lose out here, I think. I think the next thing gets answered by Snapcaster somehow.
Yeah, they got their engine going already, right? With the K command. This is like
Yeah.
classic old school Grixis control with the reanimator, the essentially the scam package.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's an interesting deck, but I'm like, well, yeah, it's not happening here. We're gonna go to game 3 and see what we can do to recover. I think I changed my sideboard one more time. I did pull out the fourth snuff out, and I pulled out the thought seizes, and I put the natural order package back in.
Mm-hmm. Pretty reasonable.
Because I think being on the play is one thing, and then also like it seemed like it got to a point where I could start resolving natural orders, so
Mm-hmm.
it seemed reasonable to try out.
Mm-hmm.
Starting out with the ramp.
I guess what threw you off too was they had the days plus the wasteland, huh?
Yeah, it's like it felt like tempo and but also just kind of hard control. Like yeah, it was just like this weird and
Yeah,
scam.
these kind of decks are ooh, again. I don't know about this, Curran.
They didn't block this time, so free value for me. They have the wasteland, and it's like, dang, we were really gonna get some business going, but now you had to come and ruin it all. K command into dealing 2 damage at any target. I think we just accept that and we discard the ignoble. Draw natural order, which is kind of cool. Fiend Artisan comes down and gets Force of Willed, so that's even better. Now we're kind
Yeah.
of clearing the way. They did
Oof.
draw Grief, though. Big unfortunate. So it goes back to us, and we Green Sun out for a Fiend Artisan. Yep, Fiend Artisan again. Just why not? Let's keep going. One will stick around eventually. Take 3 damage from the menace attack, and they hit me with another K command going after my mana this time. I think I discard Endurance because it's not castable now. Yep.
Makes sense.
Fiend Artisan's a 6/6 as well. Beautiful stuff. And we draw our fetch land right off, which is like fantastic, honestly.
Hmm.
Send in the first Reclaimer to threaten. They don't block, so we go ahead and we take the opportunity to attack. They fell right into kind of what I was hoping they'd do there, which is wasting this on site as soon as I grabbed it, growing the Fiend Artisan even further.
Hmm.
And I just decided to pass turn because I don't want to play into like a Toxic Deluge necessarily.
Hmm.
Uh, they hit me 3, pass back. I hit back with Reclaimer, just kind of like, come on, bird, you know? And then I guess I gave up on the whole playing conservatively thing here.
No,
And
I think you made the right play. I think you have the pressure.
yeah, at this point, it kind of feels that way. So we throw a Reclaimer forward. They block. We pass.
Well, I'm surprised you
They.
passed there.
You think I should have grabbed something with Fiend Artisan? Another Fiend Artisan?
I think I would
Maybe.
have got another Fiend Artisan.
I think I was just holding up like Reclaimer and Endurance, and they end up throwing down a Grief, so we respond by flashing it in the Endurance.
That
Hit
is
their
a.
yard.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just said hit their yard. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think that's a greedy grief, pun, alliteration unintended, because you could have just like untapped with the reclaimer and wasteland's down, but
Yeah. Um, but now it's just like, all right, good luck figuring this one out. You're down to 5, and they scoop. So the 5-1 record buys us right into top 8, where we get paired against our arch nemesis, Mr. JPA himself, the Sneak and Show master.
probably the best, in my opinion, sneak and show player, maybe on the planet at the moment, and actually not even at the moment, been for the last 5 years or whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, knowing that he was probably on Sneak and Show, this hand didn't look too bad because at least Haywire Might was here to maybe fight off a sneak attack or an omniscience.
Mm.
So I decided to keep it. Start with Once Upon a Time. I think here I ended up taking Bayou, though I wonder now if I maybe should have taken Atraxa. Just put it in off show and tell.
Um, I feel like you have to take the Bayou personally because there's a good chance our hand doesn't function otherwise.
Oh, by the way, he scared the hell out of me at this point. Look at his clock right now. We just started. He showed up quite late.
Also, if your opponent, if JPA happens to play Delver, which he sometimes does, then you're just hosed with the other line.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think that was also something I considered as well. But anyway, they get the turn 1 show and tell. And it's Atraxa. Now, what's hilarious about this game is I come stupid close to winning despite this.
Mm-hmm.
They reveal their top 10 and end up taking a Ponder, a City of Traders, and an Emrakul.
Mm-hmm.
Play out a pedal and pass back. So I'm just like, all right, well, it's board development time. I played out as many creatures as I could,
Mm-hmm.
Shepherd into Dryad Arbor, into this Reclaimer, and I'm like, cool, we'll just activate Lair, tapping itself in this mana next turn,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just try to trample over, you know? So they do get a turn to like brainstorm and check things out. They attack for 7, putting them to 27, me to 13. They ponder, they pass afterwards. And we end up drawing a 1-drop, which is even better because we're able to play the Hierarch, tap the Cradle, tap the Lair, still activate the Lair while having Natural Order mana for an extra body count. And then cast Natural Order, sacking the Hierarch. And unfortunately, Math would was not on my side today because we put the attack in, and I'm feeling it. I'm like, they got to be dead. No, they go to one life exactly.
Ooh, ominous,
Lifelink.
ominous sign.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no. Like I put everything in. I even activated the lair for like the extra multiplier,
Hmm.
and it still wasn't enough. And so they end up untapping, putting down a sneak attack, throwing the Emrakul in, and that's lights.
Ooh,
I even had the Haywire Might trigger to gain 2 life to go to 15 from 13.
ooh, that's brutal.
If I had gone to 16, this was a W. Just so heartbreaking. Uh, so we go to game two, and I look at this hand and feel awful, I think. And then I'm like, oh, cool. There's a lot of interaction here. Let's keep this one.
Hmm.
Yeah. We bought him Atraxa. No, we don't. We bought him Elvish Reclaimer. No, we don't. We bought him Allosaurus Shepherd. Okay, yes. We've
Yeah,
decided on a Allosaurus Shepherd.
I think that's correct. I would bottom the Shepherd here too because if they're gonna force something, they're gonna force the seas.
So, Thoughtseize, we see 2 Ancient Tombs, an island, a preordained, an omniscience, an Emrakul, and a force of will. What are we taking?
I think if it were me here, I'd probably just take the preordain, right?
Yes. That is what I ended up doing. They play an island out and pass. We draw land and we play Reclaimer into, I think, just Haywire Might. No, we Green Sun to get a little ramp going. They play an Ancient Tomb and pass back. We draw a Thoughtseize, so we fire it off, but it's met by Force of Will, pitching Force of Will. So we know the contents of their hand are Omniscience, Emrakul, Ancient Tomb, and Unknown now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we end up holding up Reclaimer here to just like go get Caracas.
I don't think
Uh,
Caracas does anything because of the omissions, right?
yeah, I mean, probably not, but we gotta hope. They
That's true.
draw a sneak attack, but hey, it's okay. We got Haywire Might. We'll probably be fine. Take this opportunity to get Cradle, play out the Haywire Might, sack it off, hold up Cradle again. They play another sneak attack.
Ooh, that's probably problematic.
Very much so. But they don't have the guaranteed second red source yet, so we're just kind of like hoping that this Caracas will hold the fort down.
I think
Uh,
if it were me, go ahead.
no, sorry, go ahead.
I think you want to main phase once there, right?
To like hit a land drop or something?
Yeah, or it could change our play is what I'm saying before you attack.
Hmm. Yeah, that might have been better. But I did the EOT once upon a time. Uh, oof, by the way. Big sad to see that go. But we grab a land, and we fetch and cast a Green Sun for 3 to get
Mhm.
Grist. And swing in.
Oh, I just realized something, Curran.
Yeah.
We still have the saga in the deck and the needle, right?
Yeah, we do. That might have
So
been better.
yeah, so I think this is one of the scenarios where you want to draw step for saga to try to hail mary the needle in time. Yet it,
Right.
but it didn't matter because JPA looks like he has it here anyways.
Yeah, he puts in the Emrakul end of turn, so it dodges the trigger to sacrifice, and he has a red mana up, and all we can do is send it back once before combat,
Mhm.
and then we lose our board. And I'm just like, hopefully this reclaimer gets here. Put him to 4. All right, let's see what we can do. Ah,
Uh,
no. There's the Crystal Brand.
it wasn't meant to be, but hey, congratulations on the top eight. I think you probably play Magic better, on no sleep than anybody I know, and I think I wouldn't have come close to doing what you did on no sleep. I'll put it that way.
Thanks. I do my best. I do need to hopefully the next time we do a review it'll be a little bit more clear-headed and more of our like theorized lines will line up than they did this evening. But what are you going to do?
I'm gonna give you the benefit of doubt, and this was all intentional to convince more players to play our deck, right? Like you don't have to play perfectly. You can get away with no sleep play and still top eight like you did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the selling point, you know. And I will also be doing I will be trying to indoctrinate a new player next week. I'm going to be joining Parker's stream next Tuesday for a Learn a Deck stream where he'll be playing our deck, and I'll be the little voice in his ear
if you want,
telling him what to do. So
if you want, go ahead and post Parker's link here on the Twitch chat, or Parker himself can do it.
yeah, yeah. Parker can probably do that.
And anything. Okay, I guess with that said, you want to go back to the deck list?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you want to go back to the one that you
Actually,
had pulled up,
actually,
or
I'll do one better. I'll go ahead and share my screen,
yeah, 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 let's do that.
and then I'll pop this out. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up my 1 second BRB. I'm gonna pull up my screen for a second because I did promise to open chess tonight.
Yes, I do want to see this.
So I'll share my screen with you right now.
Beautiful.
You can see my screen, right?
Yep.
NTGO is loading. Sorry. All right, here we go. I guess first things first. I'm gonna go ahead and open some chess.
How many are you opening?
Just five for now.
Okay, 5 for now.
There's one. Nothing good.
You got a planeswalker.
A useless
Wow.
one though. Oh, there you go. There's a nice open
Yeah.
45 planes. Uh, oh, we
Wow,
got a Judith. That's pretty cool, and a Deadeye Navigator.
you did great.
All right. With that said, let's go ahead and do this. Here's the list. Any thoughts on your list first before we talk about going forward?
uh No, let's just jump to this for iteration.
Okay, we'll do. So I mentioned earlier in the stream that like it doesn't feel safe to only play one ley line, and for me at least, I tried the last day, or maybe it was 2 days, whatever it was, with no. Actually, it was after Romario's stream. I want to say 2 nights ago, where I was, you know, watching him play essentially, and I cut the Caracas and the crop because didn't feel like I needed the crop, and the Crocus, like, it's a little bit awkward because of it's good against Merit Lage, but a lot of times it's a little bit too slow to tutor for, and you're definitely not going to have enough time to tutor for it against like some of these hamster decks. So that's the logic for that, and then I cut agents, so yeah, making myself real soft to like crop rotation decks, but the logic was I wanted more turn zero hate in Leyline and some number of Force of Vigor, right? So that's where I'm at the moment along these lines. Any thoughts? This Shadow Sphere I added because I watched Inigo stream on Sunday and he like savaged a Delver player with this card. So I was like, oh, if it wins that matchup, maybe it's worth it, right? If it just, even though it's not great in some of the other matchups.
Right. Yeah, I mean, again, I think like if I were to play, I would make slight edits to this. I would probably still play a main deck opposition agent
That's fair.
in the 3-drop slot. I just think it has so much free win potential
Mm-hmm.
that again, it's worth like dedicating a slot to in the main. The Force of Vigors,
I,
the level on which they impress is like, obviously when they're very good, but sometimes it's just not a good card.
no, for sure. I am one of the biggest critics of that card, but if nothing else, I try to see how many cards we can actually live without because the Saga package, even though it's pretty condensed, it's only really, you know, if you want to be super critical, I guess it'd be 3 slots, right? The Saga itself and then the 2 targets. Really, it's 2 slots because the Saga eats the previous slot held by Boseiju. But with that, it leaves almost no room in the deck for flex, right? And I do think we
Right.
want to, even though it's tough, right? We got to make the tough cuts and see, at the end of the day, what can we live with? And at least for now, that's what I'm trying, and we'll see how it goes. I lost the 5-0 match last night, and what did I lose to? I don't remember, but sorry, 2 nights ago I lost the 5-0 match. Last night I lost to the fourth round. I lost to it's on Discord. Oh, to Doomsday, and so strangely enough, they are not playing around removal at the moment, which is really strange. So maybe I'll just keep in snuff outs in that matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I sent you a screenshot not even like that long ago, of
Mhm.
me winning a Doomsday match because I kept in snuff out and was able to just hit the Thoracle, and they had 2 cards in deck. So
So the funny thing about that is, I played against the same person Curran mentioned in his screenshot like 30 minutes later, and in my mind, part of the reason why I didn't build board and snuff out, I was like, no way are they gonna walk into a snuff out again, right? And lo and behold, they like left themselves vulnerable to what would have been a game-ending snuff out if I had boarded out the reclaimer, right? But they made the exact same play, so maybe they just don't respect it out of us. So maybe that's something to keep in.
yeah, maybe. I mean, it seems to be that way at the moment, and like, yeah, yeah. I think keeping in snuff out against Doomsday is totally fine right now. But if it were
Probably
me
not
with this,
all. I think like two
yeah.
copies. Yeah, not pretty. Maybe not all. Go.
It depends on if you can find the room. I think. I
That's
don't
fair.
know. Like, uh, but for me, yeah, I would probably put an opposition agent main over either the second endurance or the second grist, and then find room in the board for whichever one I end up cutting. And I'd probably go to cut the Force of Vigors first.
No, for sure.
Uh, so I think that's like my take on it right now. But um, yeah, the Saga package has definitely been an interesting tool to have access to.
I think yeah,
Uh,
definitely. If nothing else, I think the stream shows that the timing of the card can really matter, right? Like you want it a turn earlier, maybe against combo, and probably want to delay it as long as you can in some of these fair matchups.
yeah, I think it's still in the process of like I'm still in the middle of like my growth phase playing
Mhm.
that card and figuring out what's the most optimal way to do so. So yeah, I think that's my take on it so far.
No, I think you won't be the only one too, and that's kind of good too because like obviously you're somebody who has a lot of reps with a deck, so if you're gonna have some learning curve, I guess is probably the right word, and myself included when I started experimenting with it again, the realization that's why I kind of realized I think it's gonna take some people a little bit longer because it's not natural for especially a green player slash an elf player to delay some of their plays, if that makes sense. Like to slow down. A lot of times you want to,
Right.
especially if you come from the combo build, right? It's just like you put everything on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think but I think the list is in a pretty solid spot. The Shadow Spear is interesting. I guess we'll see how it plays out. But
Yeah, I think it depends what the metagame percentage looks like because it's like really good I think against anything with red, like any kind of aggro or tempo deck, like Painter, like their aggro plan, or like Moonstompy, Delver. I think those kind of decks or Goblins is probably really good against or Burn. Probably not very good against Control, but ideally Needle can be good there.
yeah, I think that would be true as well. So but yeah, I think the list is definitely in a good spot for testing, and am curious to see what
Okay,
we find.
with that said, do you want to leave any parting words before I raid Tony's Capone?
No parting words on my end. Thanks again for having me, though, and it's always a pleasure. And I hope we get to do it again soon, as always.
For sure. Top 8 this weekend, and we'll run it back next week again.
All right. I got 2 shots. I'll let you know.
Sounds good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and raid Tony. If you want to put Parker's Twitch account here, by all means, or Parker himself.
If Farker is here, I'll let him do it. But otherwise, it's all good.
Okay, so if you're listening, Parker, you have roughly 10 seconds. But yeah, thank you for hopping by again, Curran. Always a pleasure hanging out and watching from your viewpoint how the games are playing out in some of these top 8 runs.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure, Newton. I hope you have a good rest of your night.
All right, take care.
All right.